Welcome back. So I've posted a couple of videos recently talking about the nose surgery that I had, and I'm still in recovery mode. I did have an appointment just yesterday, as a matter of fact, and the doctor said everything's looking great. He said he can almost see all the way to the back of my nose, which is unheard of for the average person, but it is apparently much more common after you've had this surgery, but it's going really well. But what occurred to me was there's something else I've been doing that I haven't made a video on, and that is immunotherapy. So the reason why I ended up going to get this nose surgery was I have for years dealt with allergies and swollen turbinates. I had done Flonase and Nasacort and azelastoline and others, plus Benadryl, which is the diphenhydramine. And I've also done like nasal rinses and air purifiers and everything I could think of. And before realizing that it was actually my turbinates and I had a problem with the inner workings of my nose, I found out about something else, and it was called immunotherapy. Now, what this is effectively doing is it is introducing you to allergens in order for your body to build up a tolerance so that they don't affect you as much anymore. Pretty straightforward. Typically, this is used for people who have something like a severe allergy, like a peanut allergy. They want the allergic reaction to be bearable and not deadly. So they go in and have this procedure done, and I'll talk about how they do that in a second, and how they figure out what you're allergic to. But it can also be used for people who have broad spectrum allergies. So maybe you're not deathly allergic to peanuts, but you are allergic to ragweed or mold or mites, dust mites, or mountain cedar, or any kind of grass. Maybe there's a certain time of year where your allergies just really act up. This can help you. So what they do to begin with is they take you in, lay you down, take your shirt off, and they use this tray on your back. And effectively, it's a tray that has little bitty, let's not call them razors, but more like sharp pointy ends. And they're not like needles, they're just meant to scrape the surface of your skin. And it's all over this platform. They take that and they set it into this other tray that has a bunch of little dips in it. And these dips contain allergens. So what they're doing here is they're trying to figure out, of the 50 different things we're testing for, what are you allergic to? So they put this on your back, they scrape it in a little bit, and then they wait. And after like 10-15 minutes, I forget the amount of time, they look at your back and they figure out, okay, based upon this grid pattern that is now on your back, which ones are red, which ones are swollen. And it's not going to cause a horrible, horrible allergic reaction, because all it's doing is just barely scraping the surface of your skin and applying this onto it. So think of it like a poison ivy type thing. But of course, they're not going to put poison ivy on you. So the idea here is figure out what you're allergic to and how bad it is. So if you have an area that just blows up, they'll know, oh my gosh, this is definitely a big problem for you. But in my case, I didn't have any severe allergies. I just had mild allergies. And it was interesting to find out what those things were. So for me, mountain cedar was my big one. Then I was also slightly allergic to dust mites and a few other grasses and things. But it wasn't anything drastic. Once they do that, they come up with a plan for you in order to do this immunotherapy. Now, what this plan involves is they come up with a mix, and they put this mix into these little bitty vials. And in my case, I don't know why exactly, but I had 2 little bitty vials, and they each contain different things. What I would do is, initially, they gave me what they called a build-up period, where I would come in every week. Once a week, they'd give me a shot right here in the back of this arm and right here in the back of this arm. It was not into the muscle. It was not a deep shot. They would squeeze the skin just like this in order to just barely penetrate the skin in order to get it into that fat layer of your skin. And they would push in all of these allergens right into your skin, and then your body would have to deal with it. So initially, they told me to do a couple of things. 1, take an allergy medication, an oral pill. Do that at least the night before. 2, after they do it, put some hydrocortisone cream on it. And in doing that, it would keep you from having any kind of massive allergic reaction. Well, I will tell you, when I started, the backs of my arms were red from about here all the way down to here. It was a big red spot. And that would last for 3 or 4 days, and then it would diminish and go away. Now, the very first shot, I didn't have that. The first few shots, I was beginning to wonder if they were really doing anything. But you hit a point where they got enough in there that that starts happening. And when that starts happening, you notice it. Then they keep doing that up until you hit your maintenance dose. Your maintenance dose is then what you will come in to get once a month or sooner. So when you get this shot, not only does it give you the redness on the back of your arm, but the idea is that's supposed to then help your body say, hey, I have this allergen inside me, I'm getting used to it, it's not that big of a deal, and then the rest of your allergies won't be so bad. But then as your body processes that, then it leaves, your body stops thinking that, and the next time some allergen hits your body, it says, hey, wait a minute, I gotta have an allergic reaction again. So then you might wanna go in and get another shot. So that's how they tell you to do it. If you feel like you need another one sooner, you can come in sooner, but don't come in any farther apart than 4 weeks. So I've been doing this now for about 2 years. I did my first buildup phase and I got to a maintenance dose, and I did that for a while. But of course, my nose was still bothering me. I was still always having to wake up in the middle of the night, spray Flonase or Nasacort, something like that. And I was like, this just isn't working. So they said, okay, what we can do is we can double your maintenance dose, but we have to do another buildup. We have to go from where you are now and then build up from there all the way up until we hit this new maintenance dose. So they did that. And I went through that process and I got to the end and then got back on the maintenance again, going in once a month or once every 4 weeks specifically, not once a month. It has to be on a 4-week period. If you miss that, which I did one time, they then take you back down to a lower dose and make you build back up again, which was kind of frustrating. But every single time it's a shot in the back of each arm, just in the skin. It barely hurts. What's funny is the shot doesn't hurt anywhere near as bad as probably 5 minutes later. Maybe not 5 minutes, maybe 1 minute later, when the stuff they put in there starts spreading out, it's got a little burning sensation. That hurts more than the shot, but it doesn't really hurt and it goes away pretty quickly. So at this point, the back of my arm doesn't get red anymore. I've been on my maintenance dose. They've given me a double maintenance dose effectively at this point, and I don't get red. So I know for sure my body has now built up a tolerance to all the allergens they gave me. But after all of that, I still had problems in my nose. So what I realized was it's not actually the allergies that are the problem. It was my turbinates. That's when I went to see an ear, nose, and throat doctor. He looked at it and he said, okay, well, I would have suggested you go and take all these allergy medications and you would go and do immunotherapy, but based upon the fact that you've already done that, it's your turbinates that are the problem. So sure enough, I've had the turbinate surgery, my nose is wide open, I'm still scabbing, it's still very frustrating. That's what I ended up needing to do to solve my problem. But now that I've been doing immunotherapy for a while, I can tell based upon the fact that there's no more redness in my arms after I get my shots, and I actually got them this morning. The fact that that has improved tells me that once I'm done with this scabbing from the radiofrequency turbinate reduction, my nose is going to be wide open and it's going to stay that way. I'm not going to have to worry about seasonal allergies anymore, because whatever mild allergic reaction I may have now that I have built up a tolerance to all the allergens they've been giving me, will be nothing since I don't have turbinate problems. So anyways, I thought it would be interesting to just talk about that because not many people talk about immunotherapy. I didn't even know it existed until a guy at work had mentioned it to me. And I had to ask him a few questions like, what, they give you shots and it helps your allergies and you have to go like for an extended period of time? What is this thing? But sure enough, it does work. It helps people to reduce allergic reactions to things. And it's a great option. If you haven't heard about it, go look into it. It's called immunotherapy. It happens over a period of time. You don't just go in one day and it's done. I've talked about what the initial process is in order to find out what you're allergic to, what the buildup phase is, and what the maintenance is like. I will also add that they refill these little vials about once a year. That's the most expensive part. When they refill those things, I forget, it was like $100 or something like that. And then every time I go in to get my shots, depending upon your insurance, it's somewhere in the vicinity of like $10 per shot. So it's not horribly expensive, especially when you think of like one of those bottles of Nasacort is like $10 to $15 these days. So by comparison, if you don't have to use that allergy medication anymore, it's kind of similar. But you only do this for a period of time, and when you feel like you've reached your maintenance dose, you've been on it for a while, allergies aren't a problem anymore, you stop. This does not have to be forevermore. They say that typically people will come from anywhere to 2 years to 4 years, and some people will stay on it forevermore, and some people will just quit in the 2 to 4 year range, and they're done, and they may never go back. So I hope this was helpful. If you like this video, please click on the like button. If you have anything to say about this, add a comment below. I'd be really curious to see what your experience is, or ask me any questions you have if there's something I didn't go over. Also, click on the bell icon if you'd like to get notified whenever I post more videos. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.